Even though Charity Boyer had just been very rude to Kevin, she had treated him fairly back when she was his advisor in college. So he decided to give her a chance and let her sign a contract with Williams Media anyway. "Thank you," Charity replied gratefully. She suddenly felt incredibly relieved that Kevin hadn't held the whole parking garage incident against her, and she followed Miss Wilson into the Williams Media building. When Kevin and Dr. Willow got up to his office, he offered her a seat on the couch while he went to his desk and booted up his computer. "Kevin, I really didn't expect to find out that you're the CEO of Williams Media," Dr. Willow said incredulously. "Well, I'm not in the habit of going around bragging, plus, you never asked me," Kevin said playfully as he stared at his screen and skimmed the files that Miss Wilson had sent him. Over the past few days, 7 or 8 advertising companies had canceled their contracts with them. There was something fishy about this, and there was no way it could be a coincidence. Just then, Kevin's phone suddenly rang. He looked at the caller ID and saw that it was Tyler Dawn. As soon as the call connected, Tyler hurriedly got to the point. "Kevin, did you ask Lily to give her Jones family shares in that import-export company to Grandma Jones?" "Really? Why do you ask? Is something going on?" Kevin asked as he started to frown. "I just came to Chicago to work on one of my projects. As soon as I got here, I found out that all of the shares of the foreign trade company are now owned by the Jones family." "Was this your decision, Kevin?" Tyler asked apprehensively. "I didn't know about any of this. Besides, I don't have anything to do with the Jones family anymore. As for the import-export company, you can do whatever you want with it," Kevin said as he abruptly hung up the phone. However, Kevin had already guessed what was going on. The Jones family must have taken advantage of his absence and stolen the shares from Lily. When he thought about this, Kevin felt particularly annoyed. He had repeatedly told Lily to hold on to the shares for as long as possible, but he didn't expect her to be so foolish. How many days had it been since he left? After thinking about it carefully, Kevin decided to call Miss Wilson into his office. "Miss Wilson, please go and find out what's been going on in the Jones family for the past few days," Kevin ordered plainly. Kevin had given up on the Jones family, but he still didn't want to lose Lily, especially after all the time they'd spent together. On top of that, things had been going so well until that scene in his parents' hospital room. "Yes, sir. I'll get on that right away," Miss Wilson replied. After a moment of hesitation, she asked him, "Mr. Williams, there's one more thing I'd like to talk to you about." "I'm sorry, but I'm busy right now," Kevin replied curtly as he continued to stare at his screen. "The Pearl family is having an auction tonight, and we received an invitation to attend," Miss Wilson said politely. "I don't have time for it," Kevin said as he gestured for Miss Wilson to leave. He didn't want to join in the fun. Besides, he'd always thought that auctions were just a way to artificially drive up prices on things that just weren't worth it. He wasn't in the mood to waste his money on one. "Sir, you may want to attend this auction. The Pearl family has several important projects with our company. Besides, I heard that there may be a Dream Lover necklace in this auction, so," Miss Wilson said with a hopeful look in her eyes. The Dream Lover necklace was something that every woman yearned to own. Although Miss Wilson was very well off, she definitely couldn't afford one. Still, she couldn't pass up a chance to see one up close and in person. When Kevin saw the look in Miss Wilson's eyes, he understood why she was so eager to attend the auction. He thought about how hard Miss Wilson worked to help him manage Williams Media, especially with all his absences lately, and he figured it was about time he did something to reward her effort. "All right, then you can come along with me tonight," Kevin said with a smile. "If they have one, I'll buy it for you." Thank you, sir," Miss Wilson said excitedly. She felt really lucky to be working for a CEO like Kevin. Someone like him only comes along once in a lifetime. Suddenly, Kevin turned around and looked over at Dr. Willow, who had been sitting patiently on the couch this whole time, and then he said, "I'm sorry about this. I'll arrange for someone to take you to the hospital." "That's okay. I can see that you're busy," Dr. Willow said understandingly, but she was still disappointed. "Miss Wilson, please find 2 people to drive Dr. Willow to the hospital. Also ask my parents if there's anything else that they need," Kevin said very politely. "Yes, sir. I'll take care of that," Miss Wilson answered excitedly. After Dr. Willow left, Kevin took care of some company business and then left his office with Miss Wilson at around 6 o'clock. Even though it was still early, many people had already arrived at the auction house. After entering the large hall, Kevin saw a familiar figure in the crowd. "I had no idea you were interested in auctions like this," Kevin said as he patted Dalton Steele on the shoulder. At the same time, he made sure to greet his wife, Miranda. "To tell you the truth, I didn't really want to come here, but Miranda was bored at home, so she decided to check it out. I figured I'd see what all the fuss was about," Dalton explained as he looked around. "How come I don't see your wife here?" Kevin shook his head helplessly. He turned around and said to Miss Wilson, "Please feel free to take a look around. I'll call you when the auction starts." Miss Wilson nodded respectfully and turned around to head over and look at the items that would be up for auction. "So, Kevin, I see you didn't bring your wife along, but I do see that you're here with a very beautiful woman. Be careful or I may tell Lily," Dalton teased with a smile. Just then, there was a commotion at the entrance to the auction hall. Kevin and Dalton looked over and saw Phoebe Anderson walking in, dressed very elegantly. She was drawing a lot of attention. Not good, Kevin thought to himself. Because he'd been so busy with his parents for the past few days, he hadn't replied to any of the messages that Phoebe had sent him. Before Kevin could react, Phoebe was already standing right in front of him. She said happily, "Kevin, so you're here too. Why didn't you let me know? I just got here a few minutes ago. What a coincidence," Kevin said awkwardly. He could feel her father Truman's eyes burning right through him. At that very moment, Truman was standing in the doorway giving Kevin a death stare. "Dad, who is this guy? Why did Phoebe get so happy when she saw him?" a well-dressed man asked in confusion. "His name is Kevin," Truman said grumpily. Ever since Phoebe had come back from the camping trip, she'd been staying at home all day long. She was very unhappy, which made her father very concerned. When he found out that Phoebe might be worried about Kevin, who had been injured in the fight with the thieves, "Dad, so that's the useless son-in-law from the Jones family that I've heard so much about?" he asked with a look of disdain in his eyes. "It's true that he's married to someone in the Jones family, but he's really not that useless." After saying this, Truman suddenly turned and looked at the man in the eyes. Then he said with a strange expression, "Isaac, it's still a little too early to call me father." "No problem. Anyway, it's going to happen sooner or later. I thought you might want to get used to it," Isaac Holden replied with a smile. "First, you need to do something about that brat Kevin Williams," Truman said as he patted Isaac on the shoulder and walked away. Isaac immediately understood what he meant. He walked over to Kevin and said snottily, "I was wondering where that smell was coming from." Then Isaac patted Phoebe's shoulder and gave Kevin a conceited look. "Isaac Holden, what are you doing?" Phoebe snapped at him as she pulled away from his hand. Then she hastily explained, "Kevin, don't get the wrong idea. I have nothing to do with him." "Phoebe, why are you explaining yourself to this parasite? Besides, your father has already given me his blessing. Are you still playing hard to get?" Isaac whined. He was definitely not pleased to hear her say this. "And who are you?" Kevin asked flippantly. "You want to know who I am? I'll tell you," Isaac said as he turned up his nose. "My name is Isaac Holden, and I'm the sole heir to the Holden family's pharmaceuticals company." "Pharmaceuticals? No wonder you're such a headache," Kevin said with a loud laugh. He didn't care at all what Isaac thought of him.
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.